G'day, Shaw Rasmussen from Southern Cross Combat, and I am here in the lovely Fighter Hotel on UFC Fight Night Perth Fight Week, talking to a very, very, very busy man, so I appreciate the time talking to Mr. Simon Carson. Simon, I really appreciate you talking to me today. How has Fight Week been thus far?
Yeah, been pretty cruisy so far. Jack's pretty low maintenance, so so it's been pretty good. So just been working out a couple of times a day, and yeah, it's actually probably like a lower pace week than what I know, out of the business as usual sort of grind where you're only really with one person that's sort of wandering, like, that you're looking after. So yeah, it's probably a little bit easier, get a bit more work done while I'm away than what I do when I'm at the gym every day with a few more distractions there.
I was going to say, it's quite an unruly bunch typically at Absolute. I mentioned it to Jack today at the fighter interviews, like the media day, but I also noticed it when I came into Absolute on last Saturday. He seems lighter. He seems not kind of as bothered by things. How has he kind of been?
Jack, sorry.
Yeah, Jack.
Yeah. No, look, he seems... But I think Jack's pretty like calm most of the time. But yeah, physically he's probably a little bit lighter, so he's got less of a weight cut than normally. So that also leads to probably a little bit more relaxed. They don't have to be too obsessed on food. But Jack's pretty good. He's pretty relaxed, in a pretty good headspace, and he's actually sort of pretty... he's got a pretty level head on his shoulders, so keeps everything in perspective.
It's been a weird kind of situation for Jack. I talked to him about it, where like the losses that are on Jack's record in the UFC, I think have asterisks on them.
Yeah.
After
100%.
the elbow, he was very adamant that it wasn't an asterisk.
Yeah.
But after the throat, he was like, yeah, no, sometimes just weird shit kind of happens.
Yeah.
How has kind of this road to recovery been?
Yeah, look, I mean, on that one...
Please.
So on the hand, he was fighting very well, but it's part of it. It's like also like you can be dominating someone, they just clip you, and then you get slapped. It's a similar sort of thing,
Yeah.
The Santos one I think Santos is very good, and I think Jack probably should have won. Like he head kicked him and obviously rushed the finish and then got caught in the triangle. And I think if people were judging. I saw a lot of people say, "Oh, his grappling's this and that because he got out grappled," but he was literally dying at the time. So, I don't think the judgment on his performance post the neck fracture is probably. I understand it, but you weren't seeing. Jack wasn't there even when I was trying to talk to him. But like Andy and I could see something was wrong. Either way, he started the second. We're like, what the fuck's going? What's going on here? So, those past performance, they do, in my opinion, do have an asterisk. And I think even Santos, probably it's a little bit off, but I think Santos definitely beat Laron Murphy. And we looked at him and went, this guy's really good. And then now Laron Murphy's probably the one that's going to now challenge for the title, most likely. So, he's definitely, I think Jack's the best version of Jack turns up. He will be a problem for anyone in the division, and hopefully he gets to show that this week.
He seemed on when I was last in the gym. I saw him do his last kind of hit out.
Yeah, look, it's the first time, even with the Santos one, obviously he got that, dropped him with the head kick, but Jack badly broke his finger 3 weeks out. I don't know if it was in Friday night sparring, but it was definitely either like 3 weeks out or 2.5 weeks out. It might have been just through a midweek drill session, just in MMA gloves, out with Al Walters, actually. Funny, they were talking about it. He did a kick and just caught the end of his finger, snapped his finger sideways. And he only could make a fist, about on Thursday of fight week. So he had it pretty badly, not making, because I thought up until the neck thing, he's probably going to perform all right. But it's the first time he's had a few niggles leading into previous fights, and this is probably the healthiest he's been. So I think he's in a really good place.
He mentioned in the the media day today, he said he attributes a lot of the kind of calmness that he's bringing in now with maturity. He can now be around his family, his fiance. He couldn't do that before. Have you noticed a big difference in it?
Look, Jack's actually, to me, in my opinion, always been pretty good, at least outwardly. I think, he said he was pretty nervous for Contender and didn't sleep all week, but he didn't tell us till after. Some people are more outward. You can see when some people are struggling more than others, and Jack's pretty balanced, and you don't really see. So why he might be, if he's even in a better spot, that's great. But he's actually pretty good fight week. He's always seems generally excited, and I suppose up and about fight week.
He is fighting Ramon Tavares. We were in the Fighter Hotel, as I said. It can be an opportunity where people cross paths and stuff. Have you or him seen Ramon
I believe
around?
Jack bumped in and sort of walked up and introduced himself and whatever else. I don't think Ramon was as warm as Jack. I mean, everyone's culturally different, right? So, I mean, we're probably... I mean, I think in general at our gym, we're not the trying to go staunch people and whatever. We're like, you know, you're going to fight. No need to put on a... Like, just... like I always tell the boys, you be natural, be what yourself, but you don't need to go put on a...
Don't be weird
show.
about it.
Yeah, you know, just be friendly and, you know, like, you know... I think it's a better way to go about things. It actually shows you more calm, I think. As you see, the overly aggressive people in the public spaces that glare at each other tends to... I think that's normally hiding nerves. It's like, So, yeah. But yeah, so they've bumped into each other, but yeah, he sort of acknowledged Jack, but I don't think gave the same friendly energy back.
Not asking each other how their breakfast was or whatever.
No.
What do you make of Tavares?
He's dangerous. Like, he's, you know, I think Jack's quite well-rounded in comparison. Like, he's obviously a southpaw with I'm not giving much away here, but he's got a great left cross. His lead hook's pretty good. You know, he's very much a boxer, doesn't kick a lot, doesn't wrestle, doesn't look to grapple too much, but he's very heavy-handed. So, you know, even... like his fights with City, he's fought City twice. Obviously had that what they deemed a premature stoppage and brought him back on Contender, and then he smoked the guy in Contender that he got the second time round. And then the rematch to City, he won a split decision, but you know, he lost a significant strike count very significantly, but he dropped him twice and won the key moments. And I think even in all the fights he's lost, he's still dropped people. You know, so he's obviously very heavy-handed. So yeah, it's got to be one of those fights where you got to be on the whole time, because Jack could be winning the whole fight and fuck up once, and then he's, you know, gets clipped. So I think he's dangerous. I think Jack's like a better, well-rounded fighter, but it doesn't mean this is an easy fight by any means. Yeah.
You mentioned there the roundedness of Jack. I agree. I think he's a very well-rounded guy, but also you can get that kind of infamy for like the leg kicks. And he mentioned it at the open workout. Someone asked him, "Are you going to break his leg?" And Jack, I was actually very kind of impressed that Jack was like, probably not, based on just the stance.
Yeah.
How has that kind of maybe affected a game plan at all, or like, is preparing for a southpaw something much different?
Or in this case, yes, probably. Like, you know, especially his main weapons. Like, I mean, it's pretty classic southpaw stuff, to be honest. The guy does some slightly different things with his angling and stuff, but it doesn't really fight for outside foot. I don't know when's this going out.
It's going out tonight.
Okay, cool.
You don't need to give away anything.
No, but he's classic southpaw, like realistic, like southpaw boxing angle, like you know, all that sort of stuff. So, the guy obviously can kick. He just doesn't tend to kick a lot in his fights. But I mean, Jack will be fine if he does. But but yeah, I mean, and obviously Andy looks after a lot of his striking. But we'll obviously sit down and plan everything together, and so. And you know, and the guy's grappling. His takedown defense is actually, he has like wrestler's response for shots in terms of, you know, trying to get back and the way he looks to build up. So when he's dropped people, he doesn't tend to jump on top of them. So he definitely prefers to stand and bang more than he wants to. You know, we're probably not preparing for him to be trying to take Jack down for 3 rounds.
Yeah,
so
not a grapple fest.
No, so I wouldn't have thought.
How is it, switching gears a little bit, still on the UFC? But I talked about this with Jack. But Kaan's back, which is not a weird thing that he's back, but he was at the gym for 7 years.
Yeah.
He was gone for less than 1, maybe 1 at the most.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously so he was gone in, but I still went to corner his fights, and he would still, like, I would still run a program, like, for him away, and like, so, and then when he was gone he went to obviously to Bali, like he took a coaching in Bali, and like I went over and visited him a couple of times to run stuff, and then unfortunately, you know, I mean, he obviously did so well in the tough house, but he obviously got to Bali, and then to be honest, he didn't have. I don't think he actually got to spar anyone in his weight class from before tough through to the finale. So when he came out, and unfortunately we sent a couple of the boys went across to help him out, and then one dislocated the shoulder, another got scabies or whatever.
And scabies?
Yeah. So I think they picked some stuff up in Thailand.
The ye old fucking thing did they catch, bro?
yeah, I know.
Scurvy neck, bro?
Yeah.
What the
I was
fuck?
going to go with something else, but so he basically had a few bodies go over, and I think and Mason went over, and I think Mason had copped a concussion in his last fight, so he couldn't really go hard. So if theoretically he was going to have three boys go over and help, and then they kind of were all injured. So the stars definitely did not align. And then obviously, Jack had Herbert Burns and a couple of the other guys were away, and some of our other feathers were injured. So it was just one of those things. And then he did a bit of time, I think, I can't remember, we did CKB before the Naomi fight. He Gwen got 5 or 6 weeks there because he wanted to work on his striking for a bit there. So
and then you were still in the corner for that fight.
Yeah. So I went over for that. So and I was still working on like planning, going back and forth, and he was working with stuff there. He was going to come back, but so unfortunately, like he didn't really, like, I think you'll see Kaan's got a tough fight coming up, but he's really got a lot better again in the last year. He kind of almost had a gap year, like CKB's a great gym and that, but he only spent 6 weeks of the year even at CKB, I think, or maybe it was 4 weeks or something like that. So he really didn't get much time of training. His time in Bali was, all respect, it was a gym that just opened up. He was the coach. He didn't have...
and he was the jiu-jitsu coach. I don't think he was doing MMA.
No, they had another guy, and I think that something sort of went awry there. And then
so he ended up teaching MMA as well?
I'm not exactly sure how much they're teaching, but that's probably a more of Kaan question on exactly what happened there. But he basically didn't get much training because gym's starting up. It takes time to build and get people there. And I think they had a few people that were going to come and help and then didn't pull through, or it just was one of those. It unfortunately wasn't the ideal prep for what he was going into, you know what I mean? So
that was all last minute. Didn't he submitted his application for TUF on the last day?
Correct.
It was all last minute.
Yeah.
Based off didn't you tell him, hey man, you really need to do this?
I did, and he didn't listen. But he listened to his wife, so that's probably a better plan.
That's understandable.
I was definitely trying to push him towards doing it. I definitely was like, do it, and he was like, nah. And then Miriam, his wife, said, do it, and he listened to her. Yeah. So, and I'm great. It's all good that he did. I got a chance to see him do a very intense sparring session when I was last in. Yep.
He looks fantastic. I was blown away. Not that I didn't think Kaan was good, but I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
How is he looking?
No, look, he's looking great as well. Look, both the boys have had really, great camps. So, there'll be no excuses on that side of things. So Kaan's obviously got like Ricardo Ramos, so it's his 15th or 16th fight. He's fighting the Brazilian in his hometown of Brazil, and Kaan's not been brought in for an easy fight, you know what I mean. But I think it does mean he's not a good chance of doing this, and I really think I think Kaan's very good. I think Jack's really good, and I think Kaan's they're very closely matched. You know what I mean? And they're good. And it's great having those. It's great having him back for him and Jack to work with each other because they both push each other.
Yeah, so closely matched that they were actually offered to fight each other.
Yeah, correct.
So how did that happen, and what was your reaction?
Well, I kind of laughed. Well, I kept saying to the boys, "I bet this happens. I bet they try and match you two." And they're like, "No, they wouldn't do that," and they wouldn't do it deliberately. And I'm like, we've got to be careful here. I don't want to annoy anyone, but I'm like, they wouldn't do it deliberately. They just probably wouldn't care because I'm managing you, Kaan, and you get managed by Tim Simpson. They probably won't put 2 and 2 together that you guys are training partners. And then sure enough, 2 days later, that's the offer. And I was just like, are you kidding me? Yeah, so...
Set up, dude, it's Friday night sparring vlog. Just chuck the camera up and just do it at Absolute.
Yeah, so I'm like, I think we've seen that one enough. We see that 3 times a week. We don't need to see that. So, yeah, I was like, we only got 2 guys in the UFC. You don't need them to fight each other. So, yeah. But I was starting to think, because Jack always got told Perth, and then Kaan got told something coming.
Yeah.
To be honest, Kaan got offered the China card, but it was 3 or 4 weeks' notice, and he'd just completed his first week of training back, and it was a little bit. He hadn't even done full sparring yet, and it was only going to be 3 weeks, and he would have only got 1 week of training and then taper. So we said no. So then obviously, and then that was for 4 or 5 weeks before this. So we said we'd love Perth, but then they didn't really get back, and then obviously they were trying to get him on Perth, but they told Jack. So I started to keep going, mate. If you're the UFC, it makes sense to make that, with not knowing the gym. But these 2 guys are both really pushing to get on this card from 2 different managers.
Yeah, exactly. They might have had Kaan down.
Both coming off a loss, both. So it's not. That's why I was like, it's not unrealistic.
Yeah,
this happens, guys. So it's not like this massive, crazy coincidence, really, when you think about it. So, it is what it is. Glad that hasn't. And then obviously, because that didn't go ahead, and we were trying to obviously get Kaan, and then they offered him Brazil. And given that, not that I don't hate this fight or anything like that, but Kaan's also just had a baby on Monday. So
yes, big congratulations to Kaan.
So it's a big thing to go leave your 1 week old baby, trek to the other side of the world, and fight the local guy with 15 fights on his home turf. But I think Kaan's ready and should be good.
What do you make of Ramos?
Oh, he's obviously very exceptionally talented. Like, he's again pretty well rounded and got some X factor with his striking and his spinning, and he's quite fancy. Like, I know it sort of sounds like a basic word, but he's not the easy, like, not the most straightforward guy to prepare for.
Yeah.
He's got really good jiu-jitsu. Probably his wrestling not as good as his jits. Like, he's probably. But yeah, he's dangerous and he's good, and it also depends what fight you watch as to how good he. Like, I think he's one of those guys that when he's hot, he's hot. It's going to be hard. And when he's not, he can. I think Josh Coulibaugh did really well against him, and I know he lost to Ricardo Ramos, but it was a very
controversial.
Yeah, I mean, look, it wasn't a robbery. Like, you score the fight as a whole, Josh definitely won it, but it's obviously the way. Unfortunately, the 10-9 doesn't always, because Josh just dominated in round 2, and then round 1 he dropped him, with the leg kicks, and then gave up some control time, and then similar in the last round. He looked like he had him done, but just didn't. Yeah, so, I mean, not that we really need to talk about that, but Josh did really well against him. Chepe, who Jack fought, who was doing really well against, who did his arm. Chepe kind of bullied Ricardo Ramos. And then I've seen some early ones where Ricardo Ramos looks like a world beater. So, yeah, it's and I'm sure, like, in front of his home crowd in Brazil, he's going to be, good to go.
If we can jump back to Jack for one moment, and then I want to talk about something about Kaan that I think is kind of similar. He clarified the statement today at Media Day, but Jack did an interview last night, 2 nights ago, and there was a bit of a, as I said, he clarified at Media Day that he doesn't feel like if he loses this fight, he's going to retire.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what the quote seemed like, but he did clarify.
I mean, it sounds just like rubbish journalists from someone that we wouldn't expect better from, right?
Well, you know what I mean? Like, the degree goes a long way, as we know, as we discussed.
Not like a radio degree.
No, a radio degree. Right.
Yeah, that's right.
But, like, is that something that, like, gets talked about in any way, like, kind of Jack's place heading into this fight?
Look, Jack's just a realist that knows, well, you could get cut if you lose, He might not, he may, I mean, there's not always, you can beat, like, who's it, the guy that just beat Bacchecchia and got cut after? On the back you can beat someone that they say you can treat. Yeah, I mean, so you don't want to put yourself in a position that you're going to get cut, and I don't think Jack's the guy that's going to go fight back locally if he does, get cut, because I think Jack probably find his feet whatever he does.
You should go on a broadcast.
Yeah, look, he'd be great.
He's such a good talker.
So he'd be fine for that. Like, I don't worry about Jack and where he's going. Jack, I think, meant, and he's just sort of said to me, he meant, like, if I can't beat, he doesn't want to compete at the bottom end of the UFC. He wants to try and make a run for the top and see if he's good enough and get there.
Yeah.
I think if Jack is dominating him and gets clipped, then he'd be like, well, maybe I still have it. He's like, I think it was more in the context, if this guy dominates me for 3 rounds and I barely get a shot off, then it's probably, I know I'm not going to get there.
The old Mike Tyson, I don't want to insult the sport by losing to this caliber of fighter.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to go that harsh, but,
that's the vibe.
Yeah, no, like, he wants to get to the top, and he's not doing this to make up numbers, and so he's kind of like, if I can't, and as you say, his other 2 losses had asterisks, but they still, he still sees them as losses, and then
they're 2 losses that took him away for a long time. He had to go heal.
Yeah, for sure. So he's had time out. I mean, both those injuries were actually not that too long term. But,
that's not too bad.
I think probably only 2 months on the arm, 2 to 3 months. He didn't require surgery, and the neck was probably good within 4 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks. So, so it was actually, they weren't like long times out. It's just he's been ready to go for a long, been chasing fights for a lot more time than I think the perception is. He's had these long layoffs due to injury. No, he's been 2 months later, I'm good to go, put me in. And then we just haven't necessarily got something.
The UFC is in a very harsh, I feel like they're in a very harsh turn of, I don't know, area of their mind right now. I don't know if that makes any sense. They're cutting people for a lot of stuff that I don't think they should be cut for. Kevin Doucet, I personally don't think should have been cut.
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
I think that was super rough.
Yeah, and I think he kind of got told he was getting cut before that fight, and then didn't really, and then got short notice called back.
Yeah.
I mean, to be cut before that fight would have been so rough.
Yeah, and the last guy he lost to before Jono, he's now also been cut from the UFC.
Crazy, like Brian, because I thought, I bet he got cut. He missed weight.
He kept missing weight, yes.
Yeah.
But still, they still cut him.
Yeah.
They got rid of him.
Yeah.
Ofli's coming in to this, not in the best places. Depending on your perspective, he's either 0-2 or 0-1 in the UFC.
Yeah.
I think it's 0-1. Tough doesn't count.
Yeah.
How is, and as you mentioned, he's just had like a baby and stuff. Kind of what is his, and what is your kind of mindset and attitude going into that one?
I mean, he obviously needs to win. I mean, there's no foregone conclusion he gets cut, but don't even mind. It's probably not something I try to focus on. I just focus on the actual fight and the prep, and he does his best, and you do what you can do. You just hope he goes out and performs. If he performs to the best of his abilities, he'll win this fight, and hopefully just gets to show what he's capable of, and then the results will take care of that. But I don't think it does anyone justice doing about the what ifs. If I lose this, I just, I don't. Yeah. The sports psych part's not my strong suit. Maybe it's something that does need to be addressed and talked to, and says I don't know. I don't have all the answers for that, but it's definitely not something I've focused on with Kaan.
That's fair.
And I think life will go on, however that looks. But let's hope he gets in there and wins, and we don't have to worry about it.
Well, I mean, with what I saw in the gym, bro, he was looking very, very good. He's looking very sharp.
Yeah.
I mentioned at the top, we've talked about Kaan, we've talked about Jack. If we can talk about you a little bit, if that's okay. I don't mean to spring that on you.
Oh, yeah.
I mentioned at the top, you are one of, if not maybe the most busy man. I saw you in Queensland, and I don't remember if you told me or something. Why'd you laugh when I said you're the most busy man? Do you not agree? Do you think you?
No, I didn't think I laughed at that. I think I laughed when talking about me. I'm like, I'd rather. That's not my favourite conversation.
I know. I'm sorry.
No, but all good.
But I don't remember if you laid it out for me or I heard word of it. But no, it was backstage at a fusion grappling event.
Oh,
you went, this is my first weekend home in about 6 weeks, and I'm here.
Yeah.
And now it's
no disrespect to fusion.
No, but you've come to a fight show. You've got kids at home. You've got a family.
Yeah.
I've been at fight shows where you've been like, it's my kid's birthday today, and I'm at the fight show.
Yeah.
I last saw you in Queensland 2 weeks ago. Last week was Fusion.
Yep.
You're here. You're in Rio next week.
Yep. Bangkok the week after. How
do you go with everything? How are you? Are you okay?
Let's not talk about that.
Okay, sorry.
No, I'm all right. Look, it's part of the job, over time, I probably won't go at this pace for too much longer. But, that's all. So it also takes me away from actually running the team and stuff like that. So I'll probably travel with less people as I go away, because I was at Fusion, but I think, the week before it was. Oh, you were there for Eternal, weren't you?
I saw you at Eternal in Queensland.
Yeah. It's all a bit of a blur. Half the time now, I'm like, I go to walk to the coffee shop near this hotel, and then I realise, that was actually the coffee shop in the hotel in Sydney we stayed, and whatever else. So, the last few years I've obviously travelled. South America's the first time, but that now it marks off every continent for fight shows because I've been to Africa and Europe, and so much in Asia and Japan and all that sort of stuff. So, so look, it's just part of the gig, and I suppose from the outside everyone goes, "Oh, that'd be awesome," but after a while, it is a little bit tiring or tiresome. But look, I love the guys, and I love it's also you put all the work in to train with them and get them to a level, and then you don't want to not go or not be part of that last step. You know what I mean? So it's all I'll do it while I still can. So.
If, as I said, it's not something we have to discuss heaps, but you mentioned there, with everything, eventually you're going to stop, eventually things slow down just in life. Who is maybe the next group of guy that you can train a guy up and then you can be like, all right, now when you go to fight, bring him, who's the next two I see in the gym?
I've got so many of those. Jack would be a great coach if he chooses coaching. He's probably got he'll say he wants to coach, but he'll probably rather be in front of a camera than coaching. Let's be real. But Kaan would actually be technically really good. Joey Luciano would be fantastic coach when he decides to be. There's sort of like the whole range of people that, because I've got a lot of fighters now getting to their peak / back end, that 30-35, and but Joey, Jack, Kaan as an example, like 3 absolutely gun ready-made coaches. I've got Raja there already. Raja's great for the striking and so forth, and I've also got like really good like Connor Evans probably doesn't get much of a shout out, but our wrestling coach is fantastic. And then I wouldn't, no disrespect Connor, but he's probably not going to take the striking classes right now. But it's also like the type of people like Ollie Smith, like our jiu-jitsu coach at Collingwood's fantastic. And we're really well. Samed will be a good coach too. Like Samed Yaranara will be a great coach when he retires, which the way his body keeps falling apart could be imminent. So look, there's actually like a whole heap. That'll probably be. There's a few guys that are interested in, like there may be some more gyms open up soonish, and it'll be as those guys retire. Definitely, we're lucky enough to have like a really deep pool of people to take over, sort of thing. So I definitely see myself committing to see out the careers of the guys.
This kind of crop of guys.
This crop, like the late 20s, the Sam Miles, Sam Miles has still got. He's a bit younger and got. Quite a bit of time ahead of him still as an athlete, but he'll be a great coach too when the time comes for that. So, I sort of see we'll have and I'm hoping this group can sort of, because nearly all the boys get along really well, and it's a good, they all support each other really well, and so, it'd be great to keep them together, and, that they all get their own gyms, or they all, we all come, but, the dream would be that everyone gets their own gym, and then we come together once a week, and, do all that. That would be the thing.
Form of a super group.
Yeah, so
can say ring in yeah. Our powers combined.
Yeah, but I think whether people get their own autonomy to put their own flavour and stuff, and then they all work from each other, and so look, that would be the dream sort of to it, and then and then you've got that sort of next crop down, like your El Volders and Mason Debotsus and those guys too. Might be around for a fair bit of that, but I'm not sure I'll see, because we've got some great 18, 19-year-old kids that are going to be good, because they've managed to start earlier, and I'm sure that's the case everywhere. I think, generation on generation it gets better, but I'm not sure I'll see those guys through to, because I've also always been really physically I would normally always get in spar. I'm getting, and I just I think it helps with the feel of things as well, and actually when someone's doing, you can feel if someone's doing something wrong, or what's working and what's not.
Yeah, you could smack someone around that you don't like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
bring down the hammer, bro. Lay down the law.
King of the intro class.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
But so look, I think, but I won't. I'm already falling apart, so I don't know how much longer I can do that. But obviously, I've had a lot of injuries. So it's made me work on my coaching without doing the last few years. But it'll be interesting.
Simon, I could sit here and talk to you all night, but I will not take that much of your time. I really appreciate you chatting with me today. Best of luck in the fight coming up, and then the one after that, and then the a million other things you have going on.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll be in Absolute soon enough, but thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate you all. Thanks, man.